The quantum shift. When you stop watching life and start creating it. Here's something that will unsettle everything you think you know about your life. Right now, in this very moment, you're not experiencing reality as it is. You're experiencing reality as you are. And here's the part that changes everything. That reality, the one you're convinced is solid, fixed, and out there, is actually fluid, responsive, and waiting for instruction. Not from your wishes, not from your hopes, but from the coherent signal of who you're being at the quantum level of your consciousness. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why two people can go through the identical situation? The same breakup, the same financial loss, the same diagnosis, and one person completely falls apart while the other transforms it into their greatest catalyst? We've been taught it's about resilience, or perspective, or positive thinking. But that's not it. Not even close. It's about something far more fundamental. It's about the observer effect. And once you truly understand this, you can never see yourself or your life the same way again. The science, they don't want you to fully grasp. In quantum physics, there's a phenomenon so profound that it literally broke the minds of the scientists who discovered it. It's called the observer effect, and here's what it reveals. At the quantum level, particles exist in what's called a superposition, a state of infinite possibility. An electron, for example, isn't in one location until it's observed. It exists in all possible locations simultaneously. But the moment a conscious observer measures it, looks at it, focuses attention on it, that wave of infinite possibility collapses into a single fixed particle. One specific reality emerges from the field of all possibilities. Now stay with me, because here's where it gets personal. If subatomic particles, the building blocks of literally everything in your physical reality, respond to observation, to consciousness, to attention, what does that tell you about your life? Your job, your relationships, your bank account, your health? They're all made of quantum particles that once existed in a field of infinite possibility. And they collapsed into their current form based on observation, based on consciousness, based on you. But here's the twist nobody talks about. You think you're observing reality objectively, neutrally, just seeing what's there. You're not. You're observing through a filter, a lens constructed from your beliefs, your past experiences, your wounds, your conditioning, your subconscious programming. And that filter is what's collapsing the quantum field into the specific reality you keep experiencing. This is why you can read every self-help book, set clear intentions, visualize your goals, and still wake up in the same life. Because you're not changing the observer. You're just giving the same observer new things to hope for. Why everyone fails at this until they don't. Let me tell you about the biggest lie you've been sold about transformation and manifestation. That it's about what you do. The techniques, the rituals, the vision boards and affirmations and scripting exercises. Here's the truth. Those things don't work because they're addressing the wrong level of reality. Think of it this way. Imagine you're wearing glasses with red-tinted lenses, but you don't know you're wearing them. Everything you see appears red. You try to change your experience by rearranging the furniture, painting the walls, moving to a new house, but everything still looks red because you haven't changed the lens through which you're observing. Most people are trying to change the room when they need to change the glasses. Your subconscious mind, the observer beneath your conscious awareness, is running programs installed decades ago. Programs about scarcity, unworthiness, danger, limitation. And those programs are the lens. They're the filter. They're what's collapsing the quantum field into your repetitive patterns. So you set an intention for abundance, but your subconscious observer believes money is hard to come by, that you don't deserve ease, that financial security is for other people. You're broadcasting two different frequencies simultaneously. And guess which one wins? The one that's been running on autopilot for 30, 40, 50 years. This is called incoherence. Your conscious mind wants one thing. Your subconscious programming expects another. Your emotional body is carrying wounds that generate a third signal. And your nervous system, traumatized from past experiences, is stuck in survival mode, sending out yet another frequency entirely. You're like a radio trying to play 4 different stations at once, and the quantum field doesn't know which signal to respond to, so it responds to the loudest, which is almost always the subconscious pattern you're not even aware of. This is why manifestation fails. Not because the universe isn't listening, but because you're not broadcasting a clean, coherent signal. The anatomy of a quantum shift. So, what's the solution? How do you actually change the observer? How do you shift from unconscious pattern repeating to conscious reality creating? It starts with understanding this. A quantum shift isn't about changing your life. It's about changing your state, the fundamental frequency at which your entire being operates. Think of yourself as a quantum instrument. Right now, you're tuned to a specific frequency. Let's call it your baseline vibration. This frequency is the sum total of your beliefs, emotions, thoughts, nervous system state, and body consciousness. It's humming beneath everything you do, and it's what the quantum field responds to. When you experience a quantum shift, you don't just change your mind. You don't just feel better temporarily. You undergo a fundamental recalibration of your entire system. Your thoughts reorganize around a new center of gravity. Your emotional baseline elevates. Your body releases old survival patterns. Your energy field restructures. You become a different observer. And when the observer changes, the observed reality must change to match. But here's what nobody tells you. This shift doesn't happen through force. It doesn't happen through more doing, more trying, more efforting. It happens through embodiment. Let me explain what I mean by embodiment, because this is where most people get lost. From hoping to embodying, there's the bridge between worlds. Right now, you probably relate to your desires as something separate from you, something out there that you're trying to attract, manifest, or achieve. You want the relationship, the income, the freedom, the peace, and you're doing practices to try to get it. This is the old paradigm, the seeker paradigm, and it keeps you locked in separation. The quantum shift happens when you collapse that separation entirely, when you stop trying to get the thing and instead become the frequency of the thing already being true. This isn't about faking it. It's not about pretending or affirmations that feel hollow. It's about a genuine internal reorganization where your nervous system, your emotional body, your thought patterns, and your energy field all align with the reality you're calling in, not as a future possibility, but as a present tense identity. Let me give you a concrete example. Say you desire financial abundance. The old way is to focus on the money, visualize the bank account, repeat affirmations about wealth. You're treating abundance as something external you're trying to acquire. The quantum way is to ask, who is the version of me for whom abundance is natural? What does that person believe about money? How do they feel in their body? What's their relationship with receiving? How do they make decisions? What's their energy when they walk into a room? And then, and this is crucial, you don't try to become that person someday. You start being that person now, in the small, unglamorous moments of your actual life. You practice the internal state, the frequency, the embodiment, independent of external evidence. You train your nervous system to feel safe with expansion. You rewire your beliefs through conscious repetition and evidence gathering. You clear emotional blocks that keep you contracted. You align your daily choices with the identity you're embodying, not the identity you're leaving behind. This is coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and actions are all broadcasting the same frequency, that's when the quantum field has clear instructions. That's when reality shifts to match. The practical path, becoming a conscious observer. So how do you actually do this? How do you move from unconscious pattern repetition to conscious reality creation? Let me give you the roadmap, not as theory, but as lived practice. Step 1. Witness the current observer. You cannot change what you cannot see. Most people are so identified with their thoughts, emotions, and patterns that they don't realize they're having them. They think they are them. Begin by developing witness consciousness. This means creating a little bit of space between you and your automatic reactions. When you feel anxious, instead of drowning in it, notice there's anxiety present. When you have a limiting thought, catch it. There's the old belief about not being enough. This witnessing isn't about judgment or fixing. It's about recognition. You're training yourself to see the lens you've been looking through. You're becoming aware of the observer. Practice this daily. Set aside even 5 minutes to sit quietly and simply notice what's present in your inner world. What thoughts are repeating? What emotions are you carrying? What stories are running on loop? Write them down. Bring them into consciousness. Step 2. Identify your desired state. Get crystal clear on the frequency you want to embody. Not the external circumstances, the internal state. Who is the version of you that already has what you desire? Not as a fantasy character, but as a real, integrated, grounded version of yourself. What do they believe? How do they feel? What's their baseline emotional state? How do they treat themselves? What's their self-talk like? How do they show up in relationships? What's their relationship with time, money, energy, creativity? Write this out in detail. Create a living, breathing portrait of this future self. And here's the key. Make sure it feels attainable. It should stretch you, but not feel like a character you're playing. It should feel like the most authentic version of you, freed from old limitations. Step 3. Clear the interference. This is the part most manifestation teachings skip, and it's why they fail. You have to address the subconscious blocks, the emotional wounds, the nervous system dysregulation that's broadcasting interference. You can't just override trauma with positive thinking. You can't bypass grief with gratitude. The body keeps the score, and unprocessed emotions create static in your signal. This means doing the inner work. Therapy, somatic practices, breath work, inner child healing, shadow work, whatever modality helps you process and integrate what's been stuck. You're not trying to fix yourself or become perfect. You're clearing the channels so your true frequency can broadcast cleanly. Work with your nervous system specifically. If you're stuck in survival mode, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, your system is literally designed to scan for threat and collapse possibilities into worst-case scenarios. You have to teach your body that it's safe to expand, to receive, to be seen, to succeed. This happens through regulation practices, breath work, movement, cold exposure, meditation, time in nature, co-regulation with safe people. You're training your system to stay open and present instead of contracting into old protective patterns. Step 4. Practice the new frequency. Now comes the embodiment piece. Every single day, you practice being the observer you're becoming. This isn't visualization. It's not imagination. It's a full-body, nervous system-level practice of inhabiting the new state. Start your day by dropping into the feeling of your desired reality already being true. Not thinking about it, feeling it. What's the sensation in your body when you're living that life? What's the quality of your breath, the openness in your chest, the stability in your belly, the clarity in your mind? Spend 10 to 20 minutes here. Really let your nervous system soak in this frequency. You're creating new neural pathways, new emotional set points, new baseline states. Then, and this is where it gets real, take that frequency into your actual day. Practice making decisions from that state. Practice responding to challenges from that identity. Practice speaking, moving, and choosing as the version of you who already has what you desire. When the old pattern shows up, and it will, don't resist it. Witness it, acknowledge it, and consciously choose the new response. Thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I'm choosing differently now. This is repetition-based neuroplasticity. You're literally rewiring your brain through consistent practice. You're training the observer to observe from a new vantage point. Step 5. Gather evidence. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine. It will find evidence for whatever you're looking for. Right now, if you're tuned to lack, you'll see lack everywhere. If you're tuned to unworthiness, you'll find proof of that constantly. Flip the script. Actively look for evidence that reality is responding to your new frequency. Did someone offer unexpected support? Did money show up in a surprising way? Did you feel more peaceful than usual? Did you make a choice from your new identity? Write it down. Celebrate it. Let your brain know. This is what we're tracking now. This is the pattern we're reinforcing. The more you gather evidence, the more your subconscious starts to believe the new story. And when your subconscious believes it, your quantum observation shifts. And when your observation shifts, your reality must follow. Step 6. Surrender the timeline. Here's the paradox. You have to be committed to the embodiment without being attached to when or how it manifests externally. The quantum field doesn't operate on your timeline. It operates on coherence and alignment. Sometimes the shift happens instantly. Sudden opportunities, synchronicities, unexpected breakthroughs. Sometimes it's gradual, a slow, steady elevation of your baseline state that eventually reaches critical mass. Your job isn't to control the timing. Your job is to maintain the frequency, to stay in the embodiment, to keep choosing the new identity, regardless of what external reality looks like today. This is faith, not blind faith in some external force, but faith in the physics of consciousness. Faith that when you change the observer, the observed must change. Faith that coherence always produces corresponding reality. It's law, not hope. The part where it gets uncomfortable. Let me tell you what nobody wants to hear. The quantum shift requires you to die. Not physically, but the version of you that's been running the show. The one with all the familiar patterns, the comfortable complaints, the identity built around your struggles. That version has to go. And your psyche will resist this like hell. Because even though that old identity is limiting you, it's also known. It's safe in its familiarity. Your ego has built an entire fortress around it, complete with stories that justify why you are the way you are, why your life is the way it is. The quantum shift asks you to dismantle that fortress, to question every story, to release every identity you've clutched for security, to step into the void of not knowing, where the old you has dissolved but the new you hasn't fully formed yet. This is the liminal space. the space between stories. And it's terrifying. You'll be tempted to go back, to grab onto the old patterns because at least they're familiar. You'll experience what's called an identity crisis, moments where you don't recognize yourself, where you feel unmoored, where the old life suddenly looks appealing again. This is normal. This is part of the process. You're not doing it wrong. You're in the metamorphosis, and metamorphosis is messy. The caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly by learning to fly. It becomes a butterfly by completely dissolving into liquid in the cocoon, its old form breaking down entirely before reorganizing into something new. You're in the cocoon. Stay there. Trust the dissolution. Know that what's falling away is making room for what's emerging. When reality catches up, and then one day, you'll notice something has shifted. Not dramatically, not with fanfare, just differently. You'll respond to a situation that would have triggered you, and you'll realize you're not triggered anymore. You'll face a circumstance that would have sent you spiraling, and you'll find yourself steady, grounded, resourceful. You'll make a choice that aligns with your new identity without even thinking about it. It'll just be natural now. You'll notice opportunities appearing that match your new frequency. People will start relating to you differently, as if they're meeting you for the first time. And the external circumstances, the money, the relationship, the health, the opportunities, they'll start shifting too. Not because you chased them, but because you became the vibrational match for them. This is the quantum shift made manifest. The observer changed, so the observed reality reorganized to match. But here's what's even more beautiful. You'll realize the external stuff isn't actually what transformed you. The transformation happened internally, and it was so complete, so total, that the external stuff is almost secondary. Nice, sure. Welcomed, absolutely. But not the source of your peace, your power, your worth. You've become the source. You've realized you're not a passive observer of a fixed reality. You're a conscious creator, collapsing infinite quantum possibilities into specific experiences through the coherence of your being. Your turn, the invitation. So let me ask you, what reality are you currently observing into existence? What lens have you been looking through? What beliefs? What wounds? What stories? That's filtering the quantum field into the life you're living. And who would you be? Who would you need to become at the level of observer for your desired reality to be inevitable? I want you to take a moment right now. Close your eyes if you're able. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what's one belief I'm holding that's incompatible with the reality I desire? Let that answer come. Don't force it. Just let it bubble up from your subconscious. Now ask, who would I be if I released that belief entirely? What would become possible? Feel into that, not as fantasy, but as a real, lived frequency you could inhabit starting today. This is your access point. This is where your quantum shift begins, not in some future moment when you're more ready, more healed, more worthy. Right here, right now, in this moment of recognition that you are the observer, and you have far more power than you've been told. If this is landing for you, if something in your system is recognizing truth here, I want you to do something. In the comments below, write one word, just one, that represents the frequency you're choosing to embody moving forward. Not the thing you want to manifest, the state you're claiming, the identity you're stepping into. Are you embodying peace? Write peace. Are you claiming sovereignty? Write sovereignty. Abundance? Love? Power? Freedom? Clarity? One word, your declaration, your quantum signature. And then subscribe to this channel, because we're building something here. A community of conscious observers who understand that reality isn't fixed, that transformation is possible, and that we're each powerful beyond measure when we align our entire being with who we're becoming. The promise. Here's what I can promise you. The path isn't linear. It's not neat. There will be days you forget everything you've learned and collapse back into old patterns. There will be moments of doubt, frustration, and, is this even working? That's all part of it. You're not failing. You're integrating. Transformation isn't a light switch. It's a dial you're gradually turning up, degree by degree, choice by choice, moment by moment. But every time you choose the new observer over the old pattern, you're strengthening that neural pathway. Every time you embody the new frequency, even when external reality hasn't caught up yet, you're sending a clearer signal to the quantum field. And one day, maybe tomorrow, maybe in 6 months, you'll look around and realize everything changed, not because you forced it, not because you hustled harder or visualized better, but because you changed. The observer shifted, and reality had no choice but to follow. This is your birthright. This is quantum physics and consciousness collapsing into practical magic. This is you, remembering that you're not a victim of circumstance. You're a creator of experience. So go, practice, embody. Witness the old patterns with compassion, and choose the new frequency with commitment. Stay in the cocoon when it gets uncomfortable. Trust the dissolution. Know that what's emerging is worth every moment of uncertainty. Your reality is waiting to meet the new you. And once you fully become that version, once the coherence is complete, the quantum field will deliver the match. Not because you deserved it, not because you worked hard enough, but because it's physics, it's law. The observer shapes the observed, always has, always will. Now go collapse some quantum possibilities into your most extraordinary life. I'll see you in the next transmission. Write your one word below, subscribe, and step into your quantum flow.